introduce yourselves?
My name is Alexander Tao. I'm currently a high school senior at Hagerty High School in Orlando, Florida. It's near UCF, if that's more familiar to you.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think we're here today to discuss my personal science fair project that I did with a friend in junior year, and this year I'm also currently doing a science fair project as well on the impact of Chinese on English grammar. So that's like very related with what this program is about, is bilingualism and
Uh-huh.
science.
Oh, the impact of Chinese on English grammar?
Yeah, yeah.
What what
So,
what do you mean by that?
so throughout my life, I've seen people look down upon my mother for speaking what we like to call broken English. But recently, I was thinking about it, and I realized that her English is not broken. It's just that her Mandarin's too strong. So, like for example,
Mm-hmm.
in Chinese, there's no conjugation of verbs. There's
Mm-hmm.
no word for the or a or
Mm-hmm.
to.
Mm-hmm.
No plurals. So apples is apple, and babies are just baby, whatnot. So those mistakes that you often see the uh, the Oriental speakers make, those are because they are thinking in Chinese and not in English, and that's the mistake that a lot of Americans make. They think, I mean, actually, not just Americans in general. You're you never really think about what language you're thinking, right? But a lot of foreigners, a lot of immigrants are thinking in their native language and not in English. I mean, I assumed wrongly that uh, everyone thought in English because that's how I thought. That's how I think. So, I mean, that's not the case. So, yeah, my project is consisting of some interviews with immigrants from China,
Mm-hmm.
educated in China,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sort of asking them questions and identifying those things that I was talking about, like the lack of conjugation,
Mm-hmm.
plural mistakes, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we all have our dominant language, and
I
it's
mean, like, what language do you think in?
I think, well, sometimes I think in Chinese and sometimes I think in English. When I talk in English, I think in English. It's so, because it's so hard to think in Chinese when you talk in English. So you just can't,
Yeah.
you
See,
just
that's the
can't
thing, though,
do
right?
that.
See, it might look hard for you, but that's how my mom does it because she thought in Chinese for the first 22 years of her life. So she does think so. Yeah, it sounds hard, and it's would be impossible for me to do it, but that's how she interacts with society on a everyday basis. One's language and one's thought process is
Hmm.
how they experience the world. My mom doesn't experience the world in English.
Uh-huh. Well, well, but she lives in an English,
She
English
does.
speaking society, and
That's right.
yeah. So well, like say like for Taiwan, we're right now, we're pushing for a bilingual nation in 2030, and Chinese is our mother tongue, and
Yep.
we're
Traditional Chinese, that is. You
yes,
guys did it. You guys did it simplified down. That's
no,
good.
no, no. And to give our audience more of a background, your mom is from Taiwan and your dad is
That's right.
from China. So
Yep.
are you learning both traditional and simplified or?
Well, right now I'm focusing on simplified
Mm-hmm,
Chinese, more of character recognition and stuff
mm-hmm,
like that. It's just a completely different experience
mm-hmm,
because it's a pictogram-based language, whereas we have in English just not many structured rules.
mm-hmm,
It's a very chaotic. I mean,
mm-hmm.
both languages are pretty chaotic. I mean, I never. If anyone wants to pick up a second language as an English speaker, I'd go. I'd go with. Sorry. I'd go with Spanish. Spanish is one of the easier languages to pick up, and if you're a speaker of an Asian language, whether that be Korean, Japanese, or Chinese, then
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest looking over at another Oriental language. But jumping over across different language families
Mm-hmm.
is always a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Were you asked? Well, did you learn Chinese when you grow up?
Yeah, of course. My parents raised me with both English and Chinese, so I'm fluent in understanding at least. My oral proficiency is not that good, but I can understand almost everything that my
Uh-huh.
parents are talking
Can
about.
can you introduce yourself in Chinese for
Yeah, I
us?
could. 我的中文名字是曹一灿，我是我是高中I don't know how to say senior，我在我最后一年在高中，然后明年我会去大学。
Oh, that's great.
我们今天在讨论科学跟不同语言。I mean, it's not that good. It's not fluent, but I have a basic understanding of Mandarin. I mean, that's what my parents talk to me in, so that's my
Good try, good
that's my
try.
native tongue. Yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for those Mandarin speakers. I butchered some
No, no,
expressions.
no, no. So your last year in you're a senior in high school and senior your for the American system, you have 4 years in
That's
senior.
right.
Yeah, 4 years.
That's the difference. You guys have 3 year. Well,
Three.
in Asia, it's a 3 year, 10, 11, 12. But in
Yes.
America, we have 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yes.
So I'm 7. I'm a little younger in my class. I'm 17 right now. I turn 18 in September.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's comparatively, I'm in the last year of your school system as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, so you see, you're trying when you're trying to introduce yourself in talking in Chinese. Well, it's quite challenging, and now we're asking a bunch of teachers in Taiwan to teach in English, teach science in English.
That's not a very easy not an easy task, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Science has a lot of those technical terms that is very difficult to translate and get across very well. But I
But
applaud the effort. And we have this joke in America. What do you call a person that speaks 3 languages? A trilingual, right? What do you call a person that speaks 2 languages? A bilingual, right? What do you call a person that speaks 1 language? American. That's the joke. That's the joke.
yeah,
I mean things are okay
no,
here.
things are changing.
Yeah, there's a mandated 4 year. I think you have to take at least 3 years of a foreign language. I chose to take Spanish because I felt that I could have done Chinese and done that class really easily because
Yeah,
I'm a native speaker.
that's-
But I decided
take the challenge.
You can't take the easy route.
No.
Especially with America, our ethnic diversity is very, very high. We have I think 20-something% of a Hispanic population.
Yes,
So
yes.
picking
That-
up Spanish is useful. I mean, it's different in Taiwan though. You guys are
Spanish
like
is a
almost
good
all.
choice.
You guys are almost all Taiwanese over there, so it's a little
Yes.
different.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. So that's why. Well, one of the questions I like to ask you, because since you grew up speaking 2 languages or 3, like now that you've learned Spanish, do you see the value in learning science in English? Like more than it, if you compare like languages, like if you
Yes,
were
yes,
to
I do.
choose,
And
if you were to choose like a language to learn science in, what would you choose?
it would be in English. And the reason why I say that, and it's just the reality of things, the majority of scientific publications and in the science world, that's all done in English. Most of the discoveries in the last 200 years were done by Frenchmen, Germans, and English people. So those innovations, and it's just the reality of things. That's the language of the science world. So yes, if you're studying science and you have the option between English and or Chinese or your native language, I'd most like, if you wanted to take a career in science, then English is the language to learn.
And so yeah. So right now I'm helping out a high school student. She's going to take an exam to go into college like next week. And
The Gaokao, is that it, or is it something else?
it's 学测学历测验. So
Oh, the middle school one,
No,
or
no, no,
actually
the
no,
high,
the college one.
the college, high school
Oh,
going
okay,
on to
okay.
college, and
Yeah, gotcha.
her strong subject is biology, and she loves science and biology, and biology is so
That's
her
good. I mean,
strong.
is she
But
looking to is she looking to go into the research or the medical field? One of the two, most likely.
and so,
I'm
but
guessing.
but her weak subject is English. And then she found
Oof.
out, yeah, and then she found out if she wants to apply to any of the, science, medical, engineering field, she has to have both, strong in science,
Yeah,
mathematics, and English, because so that's
it's a lingua franca. I mean, it's that's how history has shaped science, and as much as I would like science to be a language, science to be a subject in which all languages can flourish, that's just not the reality of how it is right now. I mean, it depends. If she wants to stay, does she want to stay? Does she want to remain in Taiwan for her education? She wants to be a
yeah.
doctor. Well, yeah,
Well,
okay, then
she'll be
then
staying in Taiwan.
okay, then
But
that's
I'm,
interesting
cause,
how
cause
they
I,
still
cause I'm
have.
thinking about like we're arguing whether science should be taught in English because other subjects such as arts, music, PE, they're taught in English and that's fine for like kids because they love it, and that's not like those are non-test exam subjects that would affect you going on to middle like high school or college, so. But science is it's very important, and people are saying no, Taiwanese should not, learn science in English, and
Well, that's yeah. So that's also a personal choice that you can make. And with regard to Taiwan, I think my understanding is that I mean you can fit Taiwan inside of Florida. All right, like that's just Taiwan, the population, right? It's
yes,
like I think it's
yes,
around the same as
around the
Florida.
same, yes, around the
It's
same
even
as
smaller.
Florida, yes, yes,
So the population density is even larger in Taiwan. So there's not that many of you guys over
yes,
there. I mean, my
yes,
family lives
yes,
in my family lives in Chiayi, and
uh-huh,
I think last time I want to visit them this summer, but uh, no, I'm very familiar with your geopolitical
uh-huh,
stance in the world. But with regard to science, I think that if you want to maintain a strong base of Chinese speaking scientists, then I think it is important to keep teaching English or to keep teaching science in English. But let's say if a student wants to do research and publish and stuff like that, that's more interacting with the international field of science. So then I would do with English. So I think it really depends. So if let's say you want to become a doctor, right? I think learning science and Chinese wouldn't be a problem because you're serving in Chinese hospitals, you're serving Chinese patients. In that case, I think it wouldn't be a problem. So like, perhaps I would teach the medical schools or the nursing master's programs in Taiwan with Chinese. But I think in general, let's say you're teaching physics, I don't think it really matters too much what language you're using to teach it. But if you're looking in the research field, though, I would definitely go with it.
The thing is, all like college textbooks, I mean, not all, but as I understand, for Taidan and NTU, National Taipei, Taiwan University, are one of our best colleges.
Yeah,
They're all using textbooks in English, like, or, English textbooks and, in biology and
because
engineering,
those
from the
public
States or from, yeah, yeah.
yeah because those publishing firms in America, they have a very strong monopoly over the science library, and it is a very tedious process to translate every single one of those books
Yes,
over to English.
exactly, exactly.
So
So
you, so
everybody's
you
studying if you're in college, you're studying in sciences in English, or math in English, or engineering in English.
so I mean, with regard to policy, either you have those textbooks go through the arduous process of translation,
No.
or you stick it and you have the kids learn it in English. That works. Well, I guess that's what you guys are doing. So
No, we're
so it's
trying to do it, and I'm trying because part of my goal, because I love science, and when Maddie was in Orlando for fourth grade, 1 year in Orlando, he did a science project on what's it called? Lemon battery.
oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
What
Acids.
what I found out, like in the States, fourth grade, the first unit was the scientific method. The hypotheses,
Yep.
and all that. And but when I brought him back and I take a look at the science curriculum, the Thai science textbooks in Taiwan, the scientific method is not introduced until seventh grade.
Ooh,
And
that's pretty late.
Maddie is in seventh grade right now, and that's the first unit that he's learning in science. Um, but the thing is, I think that they've incorporated like the science experiments, like not telling kids that this is forming hypothesis. This is a control variable. This is an independent variable in the primary school age, but they're experiencing all that through lab work, without telling them the scientific method. So they're doing it fairly late, seventh grade. And are you familiar with TIMS?
No, no.
It's a trends in mathematics and science studies, and trends in mathematics and science studies.
I mean, yeah, I've never heard of it, but I could assume, more or less what it consists of.
Right. Let me share with you a screen. Okay. This one. No. I need to. Okay. Stop.
So, where you were born and raised in Taiwan? Did you go to an international school in Taiwan, or?
No, I was born and raised in Taiwan. Yeah, and I had my first grade and second grade in the States, in Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I
'cause,
came back, can you see the screen?
yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah, I see Tim's.
Tim's, yeah. And this is like the International Achievement in Mathematics and Science.
Okay.
And surprisingly, we have.
IEA's TIMS is the world's longest-running global assessment of student achievement
Can you
in
hear
mathematics
this?
and science.
Can you hear this?
No, I don't think you have your audio shared.
Okay. So here I'm quickly going through, and I like to surprise. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining us. Would you like to say hi?
Hello.
Paula? Okay. Perhaps she's trying to. We can't hear you.
She says hi
Okay.
on the chat.
Okay.
On the chat.
Okay, so Paula, we're discussing TIMS, and I want to show Alex the results for this.
To describe the kinds of
not
math
this.
for the Russian Federation and Japan.
Okay, you
Chinese
see here,
Taipei and Finland also perform.
this is fourth grade science, and Chinese Taipei is here. In the United States, ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, that's not surprising at all. I think there's a lot to be discussed on the weaknesses in the American education school system.
Here.
That's the difference.
Right here, you see eighth grade science. Chinese Taipei is second.
Yeah, and then the U.S. is all the way down there in like 10th place. Again, that's not surprising at all, considering the way that we have our achievement-based and meritocracy structured. But yeah, that's always been sort of how it is. Not just science, with regard to math, and I think also, obviously not English, but math and history. Just the understanding of geography and such. Other countries far surpass America's, youth.
So it was quite surprising, actually.
Really? Well, it's not that not that surprising to me.
Really? Chinese
No,
Taipei
not at
ranking
all.
the second?
Yeah,
And
the education system in China is so rigorous, and it sort of bottlenecks the students to study, study, study. You don't pass this exam, you fail. Now in America, much more lenient. You can pass, fail exams, you're still going to be fine because we have much less students. There's 1.5 million high schoolers in America that graduate each year. In China, there's close to like 10 million, I think. So you got like 6 times more competition, less space in those prestigious schools. You got Tsinghua, Dabei, and then like you said, we have the Taiwan University, the Central. I don't know the exact name of it, but a lot more competitive. The system creates different sorts of students, and actually the language plays a large role in at least the mathematics, math, the subject of math, and math and science are very intercorrelated. But you have in Chinese, if you can speak it, counting to 10 is what? 一二三四五六七八九十, right? And then you got easy, strokes. You got 1 stroke for 1, 2 lines for 2, 3 lines for 3, right? And then, it's a very set system. It's a little different. Like in Chinese, you guys count by 10,000. So if you want to say 1 million, you would say 100,000, which is 110,000. You wouldn't say a million. But the number system, research has shown that Chinese students learn math at a much faster rate than American students because their language and the number system in that language allows them to comprehend it faster. So if you were to ask me what language you should be teaching math in, I would say Chinese. Actually. Although personally, I have no idea how to express mathematical concepts in Chinese because I wasn't educated in China. But just in general, I think the Chinese language is more efficient at teaching math.
okay, this is the perspectives from a high school American student.
Oh yeah.
Student.
I mean, I've got a pretty unique perspective. I'd say I'm not exactly American. I'm American, Chinese, and Taiwanese all at the same time. So that's my position.
Very unique. Okay, all right. So yeah. So let's get into your science project. Can you tell us a bit more about your science project?
So my science project was done with a partner at a UCF mechanics lab, and we sort of tested the effectiveness of carbon fiber at preventing stab wounds. So that wooden mechanism you see behind me, that was a pendulum sort of mechanism that we attached a knife to, and we dropped it from certain heights to simulate a knife stabbing. And we had, if you see that little wooden box on the table with the blue thing sticking out of it, that is silicon gel.
You mean
so
this
that's what
one?
We use.
This one?
Yeah, that thing. Yes, that's right. Okay. That's what we use to mimic human flesh. Silicon is very. It's used to. I mean, we weren't going to actually put our hands over there and let the knife go through it. So we used that to simulate human flesh, and we layered carbon fiber over it, and we used a very expensive camera. Cost around, I mean, we didn't buy it because the lab that I interned at allowed us to use it, but it was a $10,000 camera that recorded 3,000 to 5,000 frames per second, and we were able to track points using a physics tracker and get like the force of the stabbing, and also record the depth of penetration of the knife into the silicon shell.
Wow.
So that's like the basic overview. I mean, it really wasn't anything. I mean, crazy. We didn't advance to the state level, our project. I mean, it's very hard to come up with. I mean, we didn't have any assistance from any professors or any really adults. We just did this by ourselves, and it was a good experience. Wasn't anything crazy significant. Like we didn't win any. We got second place at the regional side.
Yes.
But like there really weren't too many. There were like maybe 8 or 9 kids in our category, and some of them were doing it for school. They weren't. We did this project independently. We didn't do it as part of an assignment. And so
it's just based. You're just like one day I want to know about
No, well, no,
the
no, not
impact
really.
of
I think
like
no, not
stab
necessarily. I
wounds.
think no. The main goal, if I were to be honest, with this project was, you know, get some experience with science fair, and perhaps we were thinking we could move to the state level and have something to show on our college resumes. But we did okay. So
Yes.
I mean,
Really, really impressive. I didn't know you got second place, but the minute I found out your topic, I was like, oh, so interesting, and I wanted to know like where you got the idea from.
well,
Investigating.
well, I mean, a key idea in science is to create something that can actually benefit the world. I mean, a lot of science today is aimed at, fixing water pollution, air pollution, um, identifying different enzymes and polymers to, protect, let's say, fruit against fungus, or, to help with clinical research and stuff like that. But that's like the application of science. So we were thinking, so we wanted to focus on that because that tends to do a lot better than the theoretical stuff at high school science fairs. So we settled on this because we had access to a mechanics lab. So we didn't have like any microscopes. I mean, there was a microscope, but it wasn't like a biology microscope. We didn't want to do biology because, we were more familiar with the physics tracking software and stuff like that. So I think this was more based on convenience rather than some investigation or some curiosity about knives and stab wounds and stuff.
I thought you
Well,
got.
because-
I thought you
because-
got. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean,
Go ahead.
if you think about it, it's pretty hard for high schoolers or elementary or anyone below actual college research age that to produce something that's actually beneficial. Because let's say you are a Kevlar company, and in this specific case, Kevlar is the one that designs those bulletproof vests and those garments for policemen and military people. Or it's not, it wouldn't be, the company isn't Kevlar, but the material is called Kevlar. But you already have industry level design and hundreds of experiments being performed on these fabrics,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You already have. I mean, they're not going to arm policemen with carbon fiber that hasn't been tested, right? Like carbon fiber is used in the industry for a lot of different things, but it's pretty hard to come up with something that's original and actually worth contributing to the scientific community. But with this project, we just sort of looked for some gap. And we didn't find too much research on stab wounds and knives. There was more on shooting, but
Yes.
they weren't going to let high schoolers take a gun and shoot it against flesh. That's just no. It's just so we stuck with the knife. We were like, let's just go with that.
That's good. That's good. And I think this is so interesting. I thought you got the idea from playing computer games.
I don't play video games.
Oh, really?
Not a fan.
Okay, I see.
No, I mean, I play with friends, but nothing involving knife stabbing. So that's not where the idea.
Oh yeah, because Maddie's really big in Roblox, and one of the games.
Oh, yeah?
Was the 13th weapon was the golden knife.
Yeah. I get
I forgot the name of the game. Anyways, yeah, very interesting topic and very applicable. I mean, if Maddie sees this topic, he would be interested. All right. So this is, I got this from your mom. And,
Yeah, I know. She said she sent you a couple pictures. But.
yeah. And with your permission to share this.
Yeah.
Can you-
That's the start.
Yeah.
Our word presentation.
Uh-huh.
That's second.
Second right here. Okay. So is Nicholas your classmate?
Yeah, he's my close friend. I've known him since 6th grade.
Uh-huh.
But we partnered up.
Can you talk about like how many students are in Hagerty High?
There's about 2,100 students at any given. I think that's probably wrong. I think there's probably more around 2,400, 2,500 students. at Hagerty. My class has 602 students,
Wow.
but yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of students.
Well, I mean, compared to China, it's nothing. Chinese high schools have thousands more students than
yes.
American high schools.
Yeah. But I just heard it. I'm not sure if I could go on record or if you're allowed me to share about you graduating with
Yeah.
with the top score from your class.
Well, yeah. I'm the top of my class, and that's not based on testing and stuff. So that's another difference between the U.S. system and the Chinese system. You guys very test oriented because there's no other better. I mean, well, I guess you guys decided there's no better way to sort your students than to have them take one test that determines their entire life. But our ranking system is based on the classes that you take. So in America, there's a lot more freedom with what classes you can take. They have different tracks. I know it's much different in Asia because they just force everyone to take the same classes, and those test scores determine the rankings in a class. But that's not how it works over here. We have classes, different level classes of difficulties that contribute to a grade point average, and that's what's used to measure rank. So with regard to that, yeah, I'm the top of my graduating.
Woohoo! How did you do that? Can you
Can
you share some more?
There was no. Again, it's much more different in America. I didn't really, to be honest, it doesn't really matter too much to me what place I am in the class. That wasn't the intent. But I guess the way I got up there, a mix of luck and just classes. Like I just took the hardest classes that were available to me, and that's what helped me get my GPA to a higher level than my peers.
Wait, so you're taking the hardest classes,
Yeah.
and and because they're so difficult,
They're not that.
You're-
It's not that crazy. But
your grades, like, would they, like, if say some students are taking the easier ones and they're getting
Yep.
high grades, and
Yep.
the difficult ones, would they get lower grades compared to you?
It really, huh?
You really
It
need
really
to
depends on the student. It depends on the student, and it doesn't matter how high the grade is or how low the grade is. As long as you have an A in a class, you get the 4.0 GPA. But if you were to take, let's say, an AP level class or honors level class, you would have 4.5 points of GPA or 5 points of GPA for an AP class. So that's how it's weighted. Different classes are weighted differently.
So you're taking AP classes?
Well, this year things are a little more relaxed. It's senior year. I mean, especially I'm going to school a lot. I only have 3 classes every day. Most kids have 7. So 7 class schedules that we have. I know you guys have a much longer school day.
Yes.
It goes from like 7 to 7 or 7 to 6, right? Something like that.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. So that's another reason why Chinese students are much higher than America in those rankings. You guys spend much more time at school. Our summer break is like 2.5 months. You guys have a summer break of like what, 1 month? So
No,
they did the math.
2 months. 2 months. It's the
But yeah, we
same.
also have spring break, winter break.
1 month.
That's what. Yeah, that's long. But anyways, they did the math, right? The average Chinese student spends like a month or 2 months more in school than the American student. That's really important, especially if you're teaching those 3rd graders how to multiply and add and read and whatnot. So yeah, that's one of the other differences between the systems. But I think what was the original? You asked me a question about.
How did you get to the top of your?
Oh, I just took AP classes. Yeah, my junior year I did 8 of them, so that's a pretty hefty course load.
Wow.
And this year I only did 3. I did a couple of dual enrollment because I capped my math credits, so I went to college to take their math classes.
Wow.
That's my resolution.
Wow, that's great. And right now you're in a process of applying to college.
Well, I'm done actually. I spent
really?
the last 3 to 4 months slaving over those college applications.
Oh, I see.
I spent like $900 on application fees. The system is pretty insane here, especially with this year. Everyone's at home. The number of applications to the top 20 schools in America increased by 30-40% for
Wow.
every school. So
Wow.
it's pretty much a lottery. It's a lottery system, more or less. So I applied to a few out of states and a couple in-state schools. But I hear back from them in March and February.
Oh, I see. I look forward to the results. Hope you get into
Yeah.
your favorite college.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you. So moving along, tell us. Yeah.
Oh, so this was the hypothesis for our
Well, that's a
project.
pretty long hypothesis.
Yeah, well, for research in the scientific field where where you're getting more serious college level doctoral research, it's not a simple hypothesis. We have null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis. So that's what the H zero is, or the H naught zero. It should be a little subscript.
Yes.
But a null hypothesis is very similar to like the hypothesis that you guys learned in third grade, but it basically states that some change in an independent variable isn't going to have an effect. It's going to have a null effect on the dependent variable. And then your alternative is the conjugate of that. It states that it will have an impact on whatever it is. And when you finish your experiment, you choose to either reject or accept, or no, you would never accept the null, but you choose whether to reject or fail to reject your null hypothesis. That's sort of the process. But in this case, our null hypothesis was just that the fiber would have no impact in this puncture depth of the knife. And our
Oh.
alternative. Well, that's just how, I mean.
Yes.
it's
I
pretty-
know.
Yeah, it's like
yes.
common sense that.
Yes. There's
But,
no
yeah.
way. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, can you explain that again? Not the null or the alternative,
okay.
but
Well,
your hypothesis.
Our null hypothesis
with
was
with
that.
with let me see, with the picture that you're showing me.
Yeah, so this was the mechanism that you saw in the first picture. I think you have the pendulum, like, say, if you've ever seen a clock, one of those big grandfather clocks.
Yes.
You have the little pendulum swinging back and forth.
Yes.
So we sort of designed something like that, where we attached the knife to the bottom of the pendulum and we dropped it from various heights so the knife could puncture the carbon fiber.
So this is the knife, or this? Like,
No,
in
the
the
knife
middle.
isn't attached. There is no knife right now.
Oh, I see. So I was like, where's the knife?
The black and the zip ties are used to stabilize the entire structure. That's
Oh,
the-
okay. Okay. All right. So you would just swing it from different heights.
Yep.
And then see how it impacts the fabric.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And this?
So this was the setup with the camera. That's the really expensive camera that I was talking to you about. We had to get a lot of lighting to get really clear videos of our drop tests. I guess difficult was using the right mathematical model to explain our results and stuff. We had to mess with tracking software and our recordings for quite a bit. I guess that's the most difficult.
Okay. And this?
Suggestions?
Oh,
Well,
what-
you want me to explain? So
this
that right there
and
is the-
that. Yeah.
So that's the carbon fiber right there. That picture, the black stuff, that's carbon. And we had to layer an epoxy over it. So that's sort of this resin. It's this really liquid. It's this liquid material that hardens after exposure to air. So that's what most of those police shields and those airplane protection. You always have this resin that's covering the carbon fiber, but it hardens the fiber so that it actually is able to block things. Suggestions for younger learners? I don't know, it depends. If you're in Taiwan, I would suggest that you just you can't really do anything with regard to the language that they're teaching you the science in, but I'd probably focus on the science, you kind of want to figure out what you want to do with the science, because learning the science is cool, but at the end of the day, your career and your contributions to society is what really matters. Because you could make all those science fair projects, but if you don't actually do anything with it, that's not as not as beneficial to your life in general. So I guess younger learners, my advice would be figure out what you want to do as soon as you can, and focus on the science that suits you. So personally, my strength is more mathematics. So I'm actually taking a major in statistics and a minor in finance. I want to work in the financial sector. So my focus isn't actually as much on the science. Well, it's on data science, so it's more on the mathematical manipulation of data. But physics, in my personal experience, was never really my strong suit. I would say I had a more passion for chemistry and whatnot. If I was in middle school or high school, I would focus on, I guess, one branch. I wouldn't try to overextend. Like if you want to be a doctor, I wouldn't spend my heart trying to learn physics. I would focus on biology.
Yes.
I focus on chemistry. I mean, it differs because you guys need to be well-rounded in all the different subjects to take those exams. So it's a little different, but if you want to be a doctor, then I'd focus a little more on biology than physics, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. So you focused on mathematics and you liked chemistry more. Okay.
Well, yeah, I like chemistry more than physics or biology. I never really liked the medical field. That never really crossed my career horizon. But I decided that math is. It was either going to be engineering or math, and I decided after 3 years that statistics was the way to go for me, because statistics is very open-ended, not really a hard science. Well, it's a hard science, but it's not a science like biology, physics, or chemistry. But it's.
Yeah, and so my question is, when did you start getting interested in doing science projects and applying the scientific method?
Probably sophomore year, junior year, because there was an incentive. You win an award, you could have better chances at applying to the college that you go to.
So growing up in elementary school or middle school, have you had any experience with science projects?
Yeah, there were many assignments for science fair, and that usually, that wasn't a good I procrastinated a lot on those assignments, so I didn't really care too much. If I were to be honest, I didn't really care too much for the science that I did in the middle.
But those were like individual science projects, right? It's not group.
Yeah, they were mandatory because they had grades given for those. The project that you see here today is something that I decided to do on my own.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is all the pictures that you've given me.
Yeah, I didn't. I probably should have got a picture of the knife.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see what the knife looks like. Yeah.
Let me show that screen.
Yes, let me stop share and let you share your screen. Okay.
Yeah, I could.
Okay, hold on. I need to give you to become co-host. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You see it? Okay. We did like 30 trials for every stabbing, but this is a recording of the knife.
Wow. Let's see. Oh, it's slow motion. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was our knife. We swung it down. And then we ran mathematical analysis based on the tracking of a dot that we painted on the knife. You saw the little blue dot. This is our data.
Wow.
And we generated. Oh, it's still loading. We generated graphs from. Yeah, there we go. The graphs rendering it.
So what's the numbers?
T is the time,
Yes.
and the time is expressed in scientific format where you have like E is like, so it's like a tenth of a second. They measure it down to like it's a very, very small amount of time. So this is the time, and this is the vertical position, horizontal position, and then the velocity of the knife at that specific moment in time. And then we
Wow.
tracked that, and we were able to get the acceleration by taking the gradient of the of our curve.
What's the blue and the orange?
I think the blue dot represents the velocity of the knife, so you can tell it's faster in the beginning, but then when it makes contact with the silicon gel, the velocity is 0, so it stops. So the impact point is here,
Okay.
and I'm actually not too sure what the X. I think the X is just a horizontal movement, but I'm not too certain what it is.
Wow.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. Thank you for taking this time to chat with me. And you know, it's very interesting, like, and to find out like how you grew up, to learn a lot of languages.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that proficient in Chinese as you saw
And
earlier. But
but you're
我每天都在练习我的中文。
that's great. 很好. And that you're very successful in high school, and yeah. So thank you so much, and wish you the very best in your college, application and entrance.
Yeah, I'll let you guys let Facebook know what college I end up.
Yeah, we'll celebrate with you in Taiwan.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
So do you have plans to visit the States anytime soon, or are you guys?
You
gonna
see,
just
I
stay there?
visit every summer, but the pandemic, with the pandemic, it's really very difficult.
Yeah, I haven't seen Maddie in like 3 or 4 years.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, we were planning to go last year, but because of the
Do you guys live in Taipei?
Yes,
Where do you guys live?
yes, we live in Taipei. Yeah, we live in Taipei. We want to visit, but So, do you still go to school, or is everything online?
No, everything is online for me. I mean, my 2 brothers go to school, but I go to
Oh,
school
so
on the internet.
Carillon is open.
I mean, all the schools are open, but they
All
just
the-
give you the option to stay home. And for me, I prefer to sleep. I do not want to wake up at six. I don't want to wake up at 6:30 to go to school in my senior year. So I have the option to stay online. Therefore, I decided, and also, it's safer to stay at home.
How are the qualities of online classes compared to
Well, it
traditional,
really
like face
depends.
to?
It depends on the classes you're taking. For me specifically, it really doesn't matter because the classes I'm taking are kind of they're not too hard, so I'm not really losing out on anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing okay. But for different students, it impacts them more.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah. Yeah. Hope that things are getting better in terms of the pandemic.
I mean, they're not really getting better. You guys are doing it well because Taiwanese people are willing to stay inside, wear masks, and obey laws. But Americans are a little more free spirited. We want to visit with family over the holidays. So, I mean, 2 days ago, 4,000 people died in a single day.
I know.
4,000.
So
Yeah.
sad. Yeah.
Right now, we're like at the peak of our pandemic cases. We have like 300, 200,000 cases every single day. So it's a lot more different. You guys have like what, 60 cases the entire year last
No.
year? You guys are doing it right. Taiwan is doing it right.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's just the numbers, right? You guys haven't like 1 or 2 deaths. We've had like 250,000 people die.
You know why? Because at the time when the government says they're gonna prolong the winter break, I was quite surprised. I was like, is it that serious? Why do we have to prolong a winter break? And then that's when the pandemic began. So they had an early.
A little sooner for you guys. It really started in America in March, like mid-March. That's when it got really bad.
So yeah, so we were everybody was surprised, and then the pandemic, we started earlier, even before the pandemic started. So when we heard something is going on, and then we responded. So I think that's why it, we are doing a good job. But both my sisters are there, Yachi and Yalan, Lanny and Jenny, and their family, and so I even mail masks to them at the time you guys didn't have any mask, and so yeah, I'm also worried about the situation in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
keep safe. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
So
you.
will you post a video on YouTube or whatnot?
It is already on there, and
Oh, nice.
it's live streaming, and I'll give you the URL.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Well, yeah. You
Love
have
our
a good rest of your
session.
day. Yeah, I'm going to sleep now.
I
I'm
know,
not,
I
you guys
know.
you guys are just starting your day. We
Yes,
got 14
yes.
hours, 13 hours of difference.
Yes,
Yeah,
13 hours.
have a good day.
Thank you. Good night.
No problem.
Bye.